Good morning. Welcome back to the Pastor Study. I hope you are enjoying your week and it's going well. If it's not, we want to be in prayer for you. So let us know what's happening and we will lift you in prayer, and you can communicate by phone, by email, Facebook, whatever works. Let us know. Today is the day after the celebration of Reformation Day, the 500th anniversary of Martin Luther nailing his 95 Theses to the university church door at Wittenberg. It is a significant event. It's a major watershed in Western culture. It's tied with revolutionary technologies like the printing press and the emergence of states' rights and separate peoples or countries forming in Europe. It had a huge impact. And I have to wonder, is Luther's legacy one of positive or negative consequences? For the church, it is a moment when the life of the church has been altered. It has been fractured in an alarming fashion. Up until this point, there was one church in the West. Yes, it was Catholic, it was Roman, and it was distinctly different than the Orthodox communion. But it had some unity. There was also a great deal of diversity within the various orders and movements within the church. There were disagreements, there were problems, and there were things that clearly needed to be addressed and corrected. Of that there is no question. But what happened? Depending on who you read today, there are between 20 and 33,000 Protestant denominations. Let me say that again. There are between 20 and 33,000 Protestant denominations. Now, it depends on who you're reading and where that number lies, but the truth of the matter is, I suspect that if Paul or Peter or one of the biblical apostles would be to come to Philadelphia and ask why there are so many different types of Christians here, Roman Catholic, Orthodox, Methodist, Episcopal, Lutheran, Brethren, Mennonite, Baptist, Presbyterian, the list goes on. And we don't always get along so well. Rarely do we work together. Rarely do we see a sense of unity among Christians in Philadelphia, or anywhere else for that matter. Every once in a while, we see something unusual. A group of Christians in a community that work together regardless of their denominations, regardless of their individual statements of faith, and they work together. They make a difference. It's rare. It doesn't happen often. It's unusual. And that is something that I find disappointing and out of step with the faith that we profess. And after all, I know in some cases churches have divided over points of doctrine, but they've also divided over the color of the carpet in the sanctuary. Or they've split when a pastor leaves and goes to another congregation. In some cases, there have been clearly errors in how things have been handled, and clearly there have been errors in how people talk about the faith. Yes, in some cases we could say there are heretical decisions that have been made by churches that would cause a split. It's true. But let me ask you this question. Did Jesus ever stop loving the heretics? Did he ever stop caring for them? Did he ever stop redeeming them? The answer is no. And if the answer is no, shouldn't our answer be to how we deal with those we can't get along with? Just like Jesus, we continue to love them. We continue to care for them. We continue to invest in them. I mean, Jesus did say to love your neighbors, to love your enemies, and to pray for them. To pray for those who persecute you. In the shadow of 500 years of fracture and split and disagreements, perhaps you and I should take steps to move toward unity, reunification, putting the body back together. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how it works. But I know what we're doing as the church in North America today does not work either. Imagine the statement it would make to the culture that we live in if all the Christians in our area could agree to work and worship and share together in faith. I'm going to ask you to pray about this, and I'm going to ask you to think seriously about how we can connect with other believers, regardless of their background, regardless of their race, regardless of the denomination to which they belong. It's time for you and I to work together for unity. Pray for the body of Christ. Remember that the reasons that Luther detailed were clear and needed to be addressed. Yes, there are problems in the church today that we need to address, but we don't accomplish it by staying by ourselves or fracturing into smaller bodies. We do it by loving each other as Christ has loved us. Brothers and sisters, I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday, where we will continue our journey through Exodus. So, in the meantime, read Exodus 4 and ask what God has called you to be about in this season. Have a great day. The Lord's richest blessings.